Welcome to the Angels, Magic and Joy podcast. This podcast is for those who seek answers from above, guidance and magical inspiration.
Immerse yourself in the realms of magic, angels, fairies, unicorns, dragons, and so much more. I'm Kirsty Jandrell, and I'm delighted to be here with you today.
And I am Kate Latchfeld.
Hello, welcome back everyone to the Angels, Magic and Joy podcast. So Kate and I are delighted today to welcome the beautiful soul that is Siobhan Purcell. She is a light language channel, activator and guide. So welcome, Siobhan.
Thank you, Kirsty.
Oh, we're delighted.
Great to be here.
We're so glad you're here, and just loving your angelic background there. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So it's brought light to the show already. But for those in the audience who are not familiar with you, can you talk a little bit into the magic that you are currently bringing into the world, please, Siobhan?
Okay. Well, my current offerings, the majority of them involve light language in some way. So I'm a light language channel, and I've been doing that for a very, very long time. And I use the light language in my offerings, even my animal communication with the healing. I'll bring the light language in, and I use it as a form of healing to clear energy. I also use it for many, many reasons. And I also activate other people to transmit their unique light language, because it's different for each one of us. And we will have our own codes of light to bring into this world. So I can do that one-to-one, and I also do groups. And I'm doing my first physical group next month in Avebury, which is very exciting because I've been working online a lot in recent years. Yes.
So, Siobhan, again, thank you for being with us today. And I'm hoping to, dive in deeper into your journey, into your story, into what stands behind and what brought you here, your path. And you've mentioned, language for many years. And for me personally, and very often what's repeating, it's, what brought you here? How did you step into your path? Was it something, you were doing since you were born? Which I don't know if ever happened. I have never came across anyone like that. So how did you step onto your path? And I know it's like a theme that we're always, re-remembering all our lives, but was there any event that fully put you on your path? Or would you say it's been years, or was it just recently, or was there any particular event about your healing journey? I know it's a big question, but I have loads of questions coming.
Okay.
But maybe let's focus on what brought you on your path, and your story before doing what you're doing.
Okay, I'll keep it quite short, Kate, because I've been around a long time. So I was born in the 60s, so a long time ago. And I remember I remember as a child being in this world that I felt strange in. I knew it, I recognized it. And there was this sense of, oh gosh, I'm here again. And then my memory is of questioning why everyone seemed to be living the same kind of life, which would be the system, really, go to school, go to university, get a job, blah, 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 all of that. And I remember questioning that. I was a very, very sensitive little girl. I remember for the first year at school, I didn't speak at all. So very, very shy and probably quite fearful as well. I was at a Catholic school. So there were these quite heavy-handed nuns around and so on. So that was that early on in my life. And then I had a relationship with a guy in my kind of going towards my late teens. And being with him was hugely awakening for me. And I had lots of amazing experiences with him. And I've only started speaking about this recently in public, but I had lots of paranormal experiences connection with portals. He used to take photographs of fairies in the bottom of the garden. Kirsty might like that. And I used to go. He used to go into trance, and I'd have lots of conversations with cosmic beings and also beings who'd walked the earth. So that all happened over like 6-7 year period. And then I kind of ended up going into, I didn't continue to explore for some reason. I ended up going into the system, into the corporate world. I mean, I don't feel there are any mistakes in this or wrong turns, and I'm sure you'd both agree, but I think we go and we do what we need to do for reasons further down the line. It's part of our learning and our awakening. So I went in the corporate world, and and I worked my way up and earned really good money, but there was always this voice inside me like, this isn't it, you don't belong here, you don't belong here. And I got to the point where I was just at breaking point, really, and I was seeking something else. And healing came in on some level. And so I went off and did a foundation course in different modalities, and homeopathy jumped at me. So that was the beginning of me really stepping onto that journey. So I think that was around 97, long time ago, you know. So I trained as a homeopath. Um, and I just from there, I just added more and more modalities, and continued with my inner work and blah, blah, blah. But within all of this, I think what I probably would be good for me to share is I've always had this overwhelming sense of love. It was almost like there was this love within me that was bursting to come out, and that's been with me all this time, and I'm sure you can relate. So it's almost like there's this energy, also not knowing how to release it and also what to do with that. I mean, it's silly, isn't it, when you first say that aloud, what do you do with love? But it was just this overwhelming energy, which was part of who I am. So yeah, so that gets you up to, so adding more and more modalities. And then I've traveled a lot. I've always loved languages, and I was looking at going into linguistics at one point, and now I do light language. And the light language came when I was living in New Zealand. It was 2012, and I was listening to a webinar online, and the guy that was running the webinar was a guy called Brian DeFlores. He was quite a unique soul. And on his show that night, he had Jamie Price, and she came on and she did a light language transmission. And as soon as I heard it, my heart just burst open. And at that point, I knew that I was also here to share light language. But that was the beginning of my journey with it. Yeah. Do you want me to continue, or is that, yeah, here?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for that beautiful description. And I think I'm sure Kate and I were nodding so, when you were talking about, that this feeling of love and not knowing what to do with it. Because I think,
Yeah.
we all probably grew up in this societal conditioning whereby we were sort of taught to keep it all in, and especially in the UK, I think I can probably say this, where, emotions in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were not encouraged to be shared, really. So, yeah, I really wanted to sort of witness that. And
Mm.
it's beautiful the way that you talk about the corporate world as well, because I had a very similar path, and it's sort of this very, I love the way you describe it, the fact that you knew you weren't to be there, but ultimately it was a way to, as you say, there are no mistakes. And it was a way to you finding your way to light language. So,
Mhm.
and that beautiful relationship. So no, thank you. That's wonderful. So I'm really interested to find out this you watch this beautiful soul with the light language in 2012. That's quite early on, wasn't it, in terms of, I
Yeah.
think, how light language was
Yeah.
understood. It's quite early on, and of course it was that turning point for the world, the cosmic moment of the solstice, the winter solstice of 2012. So I'm really intrigued to find out a little bit more about what happened next. What happened with your light language? How did it manifest? How did, you were activated. What happened next? How did you step onto the path then, Siobhan?
Okay.
Please.
Yeah, I'll just tell you so that when that transmission, I didn't see it, I just heard her because it was in the days, when the webinars were just online. And so, and I went on to meet her. I went on to meet her in 2019. And I'd say she's almost I always call her, I don't know if she'd agree, like the pioneer of light language, one of the first that stepped forward to be really seen. Um, so I was at that point when I listened to that, I was living in a little cottage in the middle of nowhere. I had all this land and there was a forest and everything. And I remember the next morning I just went off and I went to the trees because I love the trees, and it started to come through me. But what happened was that I allowed my ego to step in. And I remember speaking to one of my friends and I said, "Oh God, I think I'm going a bit crazy here, you know?" It's what the mind is, it's very clever, isn't it? So, but it'd begun to come through. So, and then 2013, I came back to England and I used to do a lot of hands-on healing, as I'm sure you both have done as well. And I was shown very, very clearly that the light language was trying to come through my throat chakra. I could really, really feel it. And I thought, okay, you got to do it now. So I started to play with it, and I knew it needed to be released. And I just practiced and practiced and practiced. And I had a friend in Australia who'd been transmitting light language from a little girl, and I just sent her a recording. And I said, "What do you think about this?" I needed that reassurance at that point, and she said, "Oh yeah, it's light language." And off I went. I went from there. And so I do remember my very, very first client who came. It was a guy, actually, a man, and I treated him and his wife. But he came and I said that I want to share the light language with you. And you never quite know how people will react, but he absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, so I just kind of went from there. I set up a YouTube channel sometime later. And it was just a really strong guidance. You must get this light out into the world. And I've always done, the vast majority of my transmissions for YouTube are in nature. Very often, vast majority are with the trees in the forest. I love, and I didn't realize for a long time that I was almost a bridge between the stars and the earth. That the light language goes to Mother Earth, she receives it. There's this beautiful exchange going on all the time. And I know that the light language, we move in through the grids, through the earth, into the collective. So I've been aware of that for a very long time. So yeah, 2019, then I was already doing all of this, and then I met Jamie in Sweden, and there are about 26 of us on this light language course, and that helped me understand it and ground it more fully in my being. So, and I know when I started, I spoke. Definitely spoke it. A little bit of toning. At the time I met her, I couldn't really write light language. It's a bit naff, really. I remember showing it to her, and she said, "Oh, it's the beginning of a language." But I think she was just being really kind. And now I do all of it. So I speak it, tone it, sing it, write it, paint it, all of it. So that's taken time, especially the written light language, and the written and the imagery that came through only a couple of years ago when I was in a living situation where I wasn't able to freely express through my voice. And then I started to write and to paint. So
We're gonna come back into the art bit and later on because that's really, really fascinating. But Siobhan, because I find light language is still quite new. It's quite a new thing for many, and as you speak about it, seems like easy peasy lemon squeezy. But there's always that ego part in it, in any healing modality, in anything that we do really. And just I was curious, how would you describe it, for those that they're maybe not familiar with it, from a bit more practical point of it, like how do you use it? How do you know? Is it my ego, or am I channeling? How do you perceive it? From kind of practical, for those that they're watching and they're, obviously very often when we sit with someone, we just immediately get activated, remembrance, right?
Yes, yeah.
But I was curious, how would you describe it, for those that are maybe not familiar with it, from a bit more practical point of view? And, like you said yourself, you need that reassurance, right? And I'm sure there's loads of people that they have it within them, but they can't, they don't have that reassurance, or they haven't met that right person yet. So maybe if they're watching now, maybe that's their, reassurance, like, from the practical point of view, and then again, having your discernment, how do you know, how do you read it?
Okay. I feel, thank you. I would say that the light language is the language of love, and that's kind of, it's all in that really. And you really feel it and understand it and express it at a heart level. So it's, I would say, for those out there who are questioning it, you will know it, you will feel it in your being that this is light language. Um, when all at my very, very beginning, I allowed the mind to just slow my path down effectively. But I knew deep within me, I knew from that moment that this was light language. Yeah. And I don't know, I can't remember what else you asked, a question, what else more there was to the question. Do you want me to explain what light language is?
Yeah,
That
and like, how do you use it? You already, we're gonna
yes,
move into the art
yeah,
bit as well, but
yeah,
kind of more from the practical point of view.
yeah,
You mentioned nature, and like your little, I'm just trying to go a bit more in depth
yeah,
to
yeah,
see
sure.
how do you view it, how do you actually know? And because often, and I've noticed with like you said, it's the love, but still, especially when you're at the beginning of the journey, there is always that kind of, you're not sure, if is it my ego, or is it, and I suppose we're talking about light language, but what I'm actually asking about is like any healing, really. How do we actually know exactly, is it the ego speaking through me, or is it love? And I know you're saying, but I wonder if you have any little, practical nuggets, like how do you actually know?
Yeah, I don't think the ego comes into light language at all, because for me the ego is the lower mind, and light language is it's very much the language of the soul and the heart and the higher mind. So I don't think you could express it through your ego. I don't think it's possible, Kate. I don't feel it is. We can sit here and talk mumbo jumbo. All right, we could do that. Well, three of us could sit here and do that now, and I do that some in my light language activation classes, just to get people to just to lighten up a bit. But there won't be really any feeling attached to that. Okay, it may open you up to just being a bit more relaxed, but somebody from the outside is not going to really feel much energy from it. Light language is something entirely different, but and there will be, everyone will express their light language differently. Sometimes you can feel there's like a resonance between different people speaking, or it may sound or feel different, similar, but it will be different for all of us. But there's some light language that does not resonate with me, and it will be the same for both of you. But I suppose the answer to the question is, you will feel it in your heart. It's energetic. It's really, really energetic. Your mind couldn't do it, because the mind just, I don't think the mind would know where to start with it, to be honest, because the way we're speaking now is linear, and we're like translating and processing. Oh, light language bypasses all of that entirely. You feel it here. It's a knowing. So I think anyone that's watching, just play with it, and maybe get someone else to listen to you while you do it, or to feel you, and then you'll get that confirmation that you need. Yeah.
Mm, that's beautiful. Thank you. I, that seems to be the key, doesn't it? That it's felt, and it's, as you say, you're bypassing the conscious mind. It's coming from your heart. It's coming from your essence, really. So that's
Yeah.
gorgeous. Talking of essences.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Could you please, Siobhan, explain to us about you produce these beautiful light language essences?
Hmm.
So very intrigued to see how they were created and how they help people. What's in the magic? I
Yeah.
just would love to hear.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Thanks, Kirsty. Well, I had a message a long time ago because to create some essences, and I very first started out, I started because I used to do a lot of astrology, and I created some astrology essences, just playing really with people's charts and water and a bit of alcohol, and just had the intention of, aligning the essence with their charts to support them in their journey on Earth, really. And that was way, way back. And I remember I sent them off to lots of people and got really good results. But the light language was that early on, the seed was planted. These have to be light language essences. So it took me a long time to get around to doing them. So the first one it's just over a year since I started creating them. And the first one was an ascension essence, which I have here. If you can read it, yeah. And I wanted to create something that would support people through where we are right now, going forwards. And what I did for each of the essences is once I kind of set that intention, I was guided to bring that essence through. I went on my own journey with each of them. Um, so in order to like raise my vibe and to also help me understand how this particular essence could help other people. And I think it's the same with anything, whether it's light language or a specific modality, each person will receive what they need. So it's not uniform, but there's certainly different threads with it. So yes, I went on my own journey and recorded how, what was coming up for me. And I did two light encoded images for every essence, and they were imprinted in the water and alcohol. And I did transmissions, always outside, always very selective about where I did the channeling. So the first one I did in Hampshire last year, and that was the Ascension Essence. So if basically the transmission and then the images, which is also another form of transmission, all imprinted in the water and alcohol. Alcohol's needed to preserve it. Yeah.
And
So
we have to move to the art bit. Sorry, Siobhan, it's just because I'm like, as a fellow artist, I'm just so curious. And you said that, art came a bit later.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm curious,
much later, yeah.
yeah, I'm curious, like, how come, why? But please tell us about art and what comes through. And I'm also curious, when you channel, do you just channel and then the person is found, or would you have a client and channel specifically for them, or probably both? How does it look, through art? And how does the process look like, when you're channeling into art? Because I know often people, they're like curious, like, how does it actually work? Like, do you have your eyes closed? Like, how does it work? Do you go in
Okay.
the trance and fully then
Yeah,
you just wake up from your trance? And how does the process look like? Tell us about the art bits, because
yeah,
that's
yeah. I mean,
absolutely fascinating.
yeah, the thing is, Kate, for me, it's not really complicated. I don't have any big ceremony. It's the same as the essences, or when I do like when I'm doing a transmission in nature, or obviously when I'm working with somebody, there may be key intentions. But with the art, I just simply, if it's for a particular person, then sure, I may ask them if they have an intention. Or something they'd like from it, and then I just sit down with my paper and my pens and I go. That's it. I generally always start in the middle. I have no idea what it will look like, and it just evolves from there. I've got one here that I did ages ago. This was quite, I don't know if you can see clearly here. Can you see? Where do I go? Oh, oh yeah, that's it. Oh, stay still. I did this a while ago, and it was, I did this actually for myself, really. Um, and I just lost a friend, and I just sat down that weekend after I had the news from her about her. And I literally just started and I spent a lot of, this is a really big one. Sorry, it's not, and I basically start in the middle and I just work out and it grows like a flower blooming effectively.
Did you have experiences, Siobhan, when you create art, it's like your channel, because I had experience, I'm curious about your, journey through it, is that you create something and then, it might not make sense in that moment, or you might not even feel anything from it. And then let's say half a year later or a year later, the knowing comes and just makes complete sense, or the energy is like literally beaming, or your spirit guys like fully comes through. It's like the process as it's already created, but like it has a life on its own after. Did
Oh,
you have
it's
experiences like that?
I think it does have a life of its own. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, when I'm in process, unless I'm doing it for a particular person, if I sometimes I'll just sit and transmit. I'm not sure where I'm going with it, but then afterwards I sit with it and then it comes through. Yeah, yeah. But I think it's this there's no such thing as time, is there? And somebody can tune into something at a later point and receive something, that I could have done something for somebody else, but somebody else may equally receive something from that image. So I want to do much, much more with the art as I'm going forwards. Yeah, because I've done a lot so far, but there's more to come. I want to do much smaller ones that people can download digitally as well, rather than having a hard copy through the post. So yeah, yeah. So you're an artist, Kate? Yeah, yeah. Fab. Oh, I'd love to see your work. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
artisan. It's just I resonate so much with everything that you do, and for me, because I went to art school and everything, I was like, very detached. But then when I started channeling through art, that's completely different story, and how it works, and how it evolves. And sometimes it's for a person, but then it's regifted, or like it does have a life on its own. And I'm always amazed, because from the logic mind, even like with the essences, because that's what I would create as well, it's like you really feel really feel the difference. It's like you could even say they're just oils. Kirsty, you can probably agree with that, because we had that conversation as well about the oils, and we're saying, okay, these are just oils, but the person that puts them together, like when it's charged, like it's a completely different story. And then with art as well, it's absolutely, every each time I know it, but every each time it blows my mind, like how it actually works is like, oh, it's amazing. Isn't it, Kirsty? With you can share with us with the oils as well, because
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, I haven't got your artistic gift, but what was coming through to me as you were both speaking is it's just that beautiful confirmation of getting out of our way so
Mm.
that, just letting the ego, and we all love our egos, they have a job, but letting the ego just slide away so that you can just let that beauty pour through. And, I've witnessed both of your art. It's gorgeous. And Siobhan, I'd love to share if we can share. Can people buy your art or is it
They can,
commissioned?
yeah, they can order it. Well, not ones not art I've already created, but they can order their own unique image,
Wow,
like at the
okay.
moment. But I want to move forward into that so that it's available. One piece is available for everybody,
Yeah,
anybody and
that's
everybody.
gorgeous.
That's where I want to move into that, so it can be
Oh,
downloaded digitally. Not quite sure how to do that, but I'll figure it out. So yeah, yeah,
I'd love to
that's the
share
next
that,
step. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, sorry, Kate, you asked. Yeah, I work with anointing oils, and um, yeah, when I blend them, it's such an intuitive knowing. Yes, you're guided by certain, have a base, a middle, and a top note, but you're just so intuitively guided by the circumstances or the person that you're blending them for, and it's just yeah. But it gets easier, doesn't it, as you go along, I think, because you learn to trust
Yeah.
that information that's coming through. So it's an exciting journey we're all on, isn't
That's right.
it?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Thank you.
remember when I did one of the very first images I did for a woman in the States who I've never met, but we did a Akashic record reading course together. And she asked me to do something. And when I sent it to her, she just said, "You've just got my soul completely." And I went, "Oh, great." On track then. Yeah. But it just flows. But then it would have been the same for put the spirituality apart. Even people like, Van Gogh or whoever. I think anyone that's like you're a musician, you're a pianist, I mean, I don't know if you know Jacob Collier. I've been looking at him recently. Phenomenal, really young musician. This is and if universal light's just flowing through all the time, especially when we're being creative. It's just that's when the magic really happens.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and there's so much more to come, isn't there? I mean, you feels like you're absolutely on the vanguard of, the whole light language um being freed up and being brought through. So, I mean, just envisage into what beauty will unfold as the years go by. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you. So, little question now around being a starseed, and this is something that I can think we can probably all speak into, and probably most of our audience. What is it like being a starseed in this world, Siobhan? You touched upon it when you mentioned your corporate life.
Mm.
What is it like for,
Um,
for people who perhaps don't know?
yeah, I mean, and I think I mean, you will have your own opinions, but I'm sure that there'll be an overlap here. For me, I've always felt a little bit odd here. It's such a beautiful world, but I felt like I'm just passing through and I don't quite belong. Almost like I have a job to do. And for a long time, wasn't really sure what that was. I'm being very clear now for a long time, but and also having experiences of being misunderstood, and I'm sure maybe you're the same. I've never wanted to be put in a box. I don't want to be linear. That's just not who I am because we're as star seeds as well. We're always evolving and moving with energy, with time. Um, Somebody said to me, I mean, I found it incredibly difficult to be in this physical body. I'm very much a physical person. I do a lot of exercise. I have to, but I've always, through my life, I've always very, very easy for me to be ungrounded and like I'm elsewhere. And I did an exchange with a beautiful woman in Australia a few weeks ago, and what came through was she said your vibration is really unique. There are very, very few people in this world who have an energy similar to yours. Um, and she said you're almost like a firefly. It's almost like a shutter, like open shut, open shut, open shut, open shut, and like you're everywhere. And when that came, I thought, oh my God, that's so right. So so it's that challenge to be in the physical body, and I am very much here, there, everywhere. But it's also this inability at times to connect and to find souls, beings that I feel at one with, that I feel aligned with, that I feel me with. Does that make sense? Whoever
Absolutely.
me is, me today is a different me tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? But I'm talking like the essence of me. Yeah. What do
I'm
you two feel?
Kate. Well, before we ask that, I just wanted to mention when you said about sort of connecting, do you feel that now that's becoming easier, Siobhan, now that we're all coming out of the woodwork?
Um,
Or do you still find it
I still find it. I still find
difficult?
it. Yeah, um I have a lot of good people in my world that we get each other.
Yeah,
Um there's definitely more resonance, more of us I feel that want have the same intentions to make
yeah,
this world a better place,
yeah,
and I'm meeting more people with more open hearts now, sure. But
yeah,
those that I feel I belong with, there's still, yeah,
yeah.
still a bit that's a bit wavy still, yeah. Yeah, but that's the beauty of the world, isn't it? Because we're unique within all of this. Does that make sense? But it's like
Yeah,
I think it's like who you feel at home with.
it
That's
is.
probably a better way of putting it, you
Yeah.
know?
It is. It's yeah, it's all frequency, isn't it? And as you say, you're such a beautiful light. I mean, you really are. So thank you. Kate, how about you, my love?
Yeah,
How
I'm
do
just
you feel as a
keep thinking,
starseed?
of the journey along, and like person, being here, and the big one I think for all of us, it's like it's harder but easier at the same time, is that there's more and more of us coming out of the closet. And I suppose, there could be people that we are connected, but you can't really connect as long as they don't allow themselves to be truly themselves. So we kind of, we allow them to have their own journey. We allow them to take their time and all. And for me personally, the biggest breakthrough, because, I'll always be here and like, that's a mistake. I shouldn't be here. Like, what am I doing here? Looking at the stars, like, where's home? I'm like, that's a mistake. Take me back. And literally longing to come back. I was, couldn't come wait to come back. And for me the breaking point was feeling I'm the only one like this in the world, completely disconnected from others. And then and I remember a couple of years ago, the biggest breakthrough was through psychic art as well, fully reconnecting, with the soul's family, connecting with the, with the family up there, with home. And then the moment I connected there, I felt more at home here. And then the moment I connected, I could see so many, the crystal grid, but the crystal grid of all of those kind of as me, as, the family here, the family here, or, the other star seeds that are here. And I could see it energetically. I'm like, and that was enough for me. I'm like, I know there are others as well. And I could see their longing, and we kind of connect in the heart. And then absolute magic happened, because I started meeting all of those people physically. And I could have a vision of someone. I could sense them energetically. I'm like, I'm fine. Probably it's, another beautiful being coming. And then literally like Kirsty herself, like, you starting meeting those people physically. I'm like, wow, you exist. And very often, we would connect like on a podcast. And very often when we meet in person, like, you're real. And, you're touching and hugging, like, you're real. You're like, you're actually here. It's like, almost, I can't believe it. And the gratitude that comes when you're on your own for so many years, like, there is such a massive gratitude that we're actually not, and we never are, because when you're connected in your heart, you could be the last man standing. But then once you connect in your heart, when you connect truly to your home, to actually home, then you always feel at home, kind of is that sense that once you get the sense, you're like always connected, always at home, wherever you are. And I always look at it, I was talking to my friend and this morning, and she mentioned something. She was like, I will do my 3D, I will do my job, and then I focus on my path. And I was thinking, but all of it is our path, like everything, being in a corporate, and we're all spiritual, we're all on spiritual journey. And very often, it might be that misconception of someone is, not spiritual. We all are, and there's always that nugget. And I have always find it so fascinating. I wouldn't, speak much. I'm just, I'm just there, and people are actually craving it. They're really craving at their core, and more people. I don't know if it's my reality because I attract those people, but really, people that on the surface they seem like they wouldn't be interested, but they're loads more and more. And I feel like more and more people are actually craving that connection. And I feel like we're so connected on our heart level, and I always see it like a crystal grid, and we're all in it like a like a forest of crystal trees, and we're all connected through the roots, through the mycelium. And it's so beautiful, because it's like when ego steps in, it's like, no, nothing. But then when you actually dive in, and when you actually give that time to meet another person, you're always connected. There's always that seed of connection. Would you guys agree? That there is, it's like we might seem like, oh no, this is 3D world, but it's always, and all of the timelines, they're constantly, and as I say, all the dogs are like, yay! Yeah, me too.
How many dogs are there?
Probably all of the neighbors, all the neighborhood, just suddenly. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I think that's so beautifully said, what you said about the heart, and how we draw each other together, we come together. Yeah, I love what you shared there, Kate. Yeah.
How about you, Kirsty? How about your journey? And that, how is it Kirsty, how is it being a starseed on this planet?
No one
How
knows.
long have you been here? How many incarnations? what's the contracts you've brought here?
I
How's it
think,
doing? How's it going so far?
how's it going? I think, do you know, and it probably similar to you. I always had this from being I was a very sensitive child and always was happiest, in the woods really, and in the garden, like you.
You're a
Both of you
fairy.
love
You're
the
a
trees.
fairy. Mm.
The phrase "away with the fairies" was thanks were invented. But I think that feeling of otherness, and I was always told, "Oh, you're too sensitive, you're too kind, you're too nice." And I used to think, how can you be too nice? How can you be too nice? How can you be too kind? How can you? And that used to really quite upset me. But I learned how to adapt to the corporate world and the world of, education. And I was a teacher for a while, and it was very difficult, I found, because I had to put this hard shell over the real me, and it felt like I was wearing a I don't know, just some like a shield almost that wasn't me. So I think COVID for me was this. I mean, I taught yoga for like many, many, many years, and it was only really when I did that or I had my spiritual practice in behind closed doors, um, that I was able to be myself. And then being COVID for me was such an opener because of course, it forced us all online, and it was then I started making connections. And I mean, my whole world has just changed. My friends now are true, true soul friends, and some friends that I've known for many, many years are still with me, and some are not. They've gone their different way. But for me, that, you were talking about that connection, and through COVID, that online connection, and then meeting each other at gatherings, and that's, as you said, that has just taken it to another level. So I'm actually a very excited Starseed at the moment because um, I'm just I'm just so excited about what we're creating and how we can help people as they wake up and as they, come to want to walk their soul's path and whatever that is. And I just, yeah, I'm just quite excited. I think it's lovely, but it's been blooming hard at times, I have to say. For the first 45 years, it was quite difficult. So yeah. So yeah, that's it. And I just find it so intriguing, and just, all of the gifts that are coming online for people and for us, and that connection and what we can create together is just exciting. So that's my take. Yeah,
That's where we create the magic when we come together, though, don't we?
it is.
The days
Um,
of being alone, isolated are
yeah,
over now.
and
Yeah,
how exciting that is.
yeah, it really is. And I'm going to meet you two at the weekend.
Yeah, yeah, in Glastonbury.
And
And I think,
yeah.
sorry, I just wanted to say about the communication as well. And I love the fact that you're bringing through the light language when we're starting to be more comfortable with it as individuals. I was joking to someone the other day, and I was trying to convey something that was quite heartfelt, and English didn't seem to cut it. And I just said, God, won't it be so much blooming easier when we're all speaking light language? It'll get so much deeper. And I think that feels like the beauty and the communication that's evolving and unfolding with light language. So
Oh, you're so right. I ran a course at the weekend and I recorded two women speaking to each other. I think I started at 10 o'clock. This was 12:30. And I asked them permission afterwards, like, I recorded this, I can share it with you. And I sat here listening to them and I had tears streaming down my face. And they never met each other before, but just through the light language, the connection was just so deep. And as you said, it's beyond words, beyond the mind, beyond you can't you can't put it into into make it linear in any way. You know, I mean, every word and sound and tone contains so much, but it's just for me here, just feeling it like a true heart connection, like that's real divine love. So yeah, I'm excited for when this happens, and I mean, it's happening already. I mean, when I started, there was hardly anyone around, as we said earlier. And now, if you look on YouTube, how many people have got light language channels? It's phenomenal. It's really, really exciting. Yeah.
I feel like soon we might even stop using, normal language.
Yeah, I hope
You
so.
just communicate
Yeah,
purely.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of, communicate very purely, but also magic and magical events, we have, Siobhan, we have this, one of our favorite questions, and it's like a repeated thing we do on our podcast, because we find that, we can talk about things, right? And it's nice, but when we speak from our experience and our experiences, then I've noticed it always on my journey. Many times I would hear about someone, sharing their experience, whatever happened, and then suddenly magic would open in my life. So the question is, Siobhan, and I know you probably have hundreds, thousands of events like that, but maybe something that will come to you right now to share, an event or maybe an initiation or maybe a breaking point, your most magical or angelic experience, story time with Siobhan.
Okay.
It's just, I'm sure you have so many, but something that comes to you right now, to share your most, magical encounter, something that happened in your life, something that opened you, or maybe a breaking point, that you were going through and that really initiated you forward.
Okay, I need to sit with that for a moment. I've had quite a few initiations.
It can be a few, by the way. We
How long
have
have you
the
got?
rest of the week free. So.
How long have you got? Well, do you know, I'm just feeling like when that light language first came to me in 2012, I was in a very strange time in my life, and I'd come out of a relationship with somebody in Australia, and I went to New Zealand. I didn't want to come back to Europe. I went there, and I was absolutely heartbroken when I left Australia. So I was in New Zealand in this little place on my own. So yeah, in a really, really strange time in my life, and that's when, and it's not a coincidence that I happened to put that webinar on that night, and that was the beginning of a new journey for me. But I would say I've had many, many times in my life where it's almost like my heart's had to break a bit more for more light to come in. And that's been through love relationship. I haven't got one specific that's jumping out at me, Kate. I'm not sorry, this is not very I'm trying to think of anything that would be really enlightening for other people. There's not like one moment, it's almost like a succession of events. So, like the synchronicities will start to come then. I've had times when I've had nowhere to live, and then all of a sudden, magic's happened. Somebody's just stepped in and go, hey, you can come here, come stay here. That happened to me just a couple of years ago. So, yeah.
We dive in a bit because I find that very interesting. And, with my soul sisters, it's like this, breaking the heart. I really like what you said, that your heart needs to break a little bit to allow more light in. Can you talk a bit more about that, Siobhan? Because I find that, our heart breaks and, when we're so low, and then there's always an initiation almost behind it. It's always, a new skill or a new power or new wisdom, new knowing, new understanding coming through. How do you view those moments when we're being, shut down or compressed or suppressed, or that something tries to take our power away? Like, how do you view those moments? And I'm really curious about what you said, that we need to break the heart a little bit, so
Yeah.
when it's almost like, when you go to the gym, right? It's like you need to break the muscle, then so it rebuilds and builds bigger. It's like we're this big testosterone, energetic testosterone beings after all the heartbreaks and all. How do you view that, the process of it? And is it necessary for growth?
Oh, I don't know that it's necessary for everyone. I think there are people that are born in this world right now that their hearts are wide open. I look at my great nieces, there's 6 and 2, and the twins. They have the biggest hearts. They're angelic angels, and I've seen that from the beginning. So I wouldn't say it's the same perhaps for somebody of my time, yeah. And I feel like there's always a choice point. Like I remember when my marriage ended, and I'm sure you felt this before. I mean, I don't want to get all dark and gloomy here, but like this sensation, like there's an elephant on your heart stepping on you, this pain that just won't go away. And I think what happens is when there's like an emotional pain or a trauma of some kind, the heart really feels it because the heart is guiding us and speaking to us all the time. So, and I think the natural inclination is for us to go into protective mode. So the heart, a shield may come around the heart. So you will see people that go through life, they've had a trauma or a huge grief, and then the heart starts to close, and because they've been rejected or whatever it may be, and it's protection. But what happens with time is that protective mechanism becomes a shell, and it becomes harder and harder and harder, so that they're not able to express. But I think there's a choice point there. And I remember all those years ago when that happened with me, and I was already a homeopath, and I went somewhere, and this lady said to me, "Don't let this experience close your heart, Siobhan. Don't let it." But I knew that, I mean, I said to you earlier on that I've always had this, I've always, so much of what Kirsty was saying earlier on about being too sensitive, too nice, too kind, I've had all of that come to me as well. But I feel that particular time, it just opened me up to a whole new level. And once I got through all it was, I understood very early on what this was all about, how I'd not been true to myself, how I'd sacrificed myself, how I'd not followed my intuition. There were so many, many lessons within it. But it never stopped me trusting, and it never stopped me loving. If anything, it helped me love more. And it's been a journey of self-love and self-discovery that continues. Self-love has always been a challenge for me because I came from a time on earth when you just don't do that, you know. Um, but I know that I'm here to share my love and to help other people understand what love is. And I want everyone to experience that love that I feel in my heart. I mean, for me, it's so easy to love. But would I be who I am now if I'd not been through all of that? I don't, probably not. Perhaps I would have shut down. Perhaps don't know. I don't think my soul would have let that happen somehow. But um, yeah, but it's almost like we have to be broken down, like you're talking about the gym, Kate. I think it's very much that. But I feel that we're in a time now where it doesn't have to be so painful. It doesn't have to be so dramatic at all, at all. I think we can choose how to be, and um, yeah, it's easier to love. We're filled with more light. There's more light in this world. There's more darkness too, but there's more light, and it's which way are you going? I know which way I'm going.
No.
So,
Oh, I love that. Thank you. And this is, yeah, totally relate to that and that choice point. And it's almost like you have your heart broke open again, isn't it? And the more it breaks, the bigger it becomes and the bigger capacity for love we have. And as you say, it's a choice. We can either shut down or we can love more,
yeah.
and it's that simple really, isn't it? Um, and it's that simple and it's that complicated as well. So thank you for sharing that because that's such a beautiful message. It really is. And what a beautiful way to end our beautiful meeting today. Thank you. You are clearly a love-filled being. So thank you for filling our
Oh,
podcast with
good.
that today.
Thank you.
Oh,
Did you want me to share any light language, or you want to end?
oh, that would be
Shall I
amazing.
do a little bit
Yes,
like that?
please, please,
Yeah.
please. Thank
Right.
you.
Let's bring a bit of love in. Yeah. a bit more love. Yeah, okay. All right. You can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever works for you, and just settle into your heart space. Be open to receiving anyone that's watching as well. Ai korvai ortoiame, ikiamato karto, liaton chatai tertum. E balla corteamo kiciorte annatsela. Apora mania pukai te ataya o chokar tuki eno a. Molla corte mon servia kaio. Eni alla moi anga o et ki amai anga vako ki ana tikum. Ilik nord e amba pai ia. But chupi kasho kutu shikatar. Ar in iaka cheayar. Dur tu ilama. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale. And you can come back into your space. A very soft one that was.
Beautiful. Thank you. Oh,
You're
so
welcome.
precious. It's like being bathed in just love light, really. Thank you.
It was a kind of a message like it's all okay.
Mm.
Everything's all right. Yeah. It's very soothing for the heart. So
Gorgeous.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that magic. Oh, wow. So, Siobhan, for those who would love to get in contact with you and work with you, we'll put all the contacts below in the show notes. But just for people who are listening, what's the best way, my love, for people to contact you?
Just email me. Just go to my website and email me, SiobhanPurcell@gmail.com. Yeah. For YouTube as well. But yeah, that's the best way through the website. Yeah. Or give me a call. I'm happy to receive a phone call. I not many people do that today, but yeah, just give me a call and have a chat, an introductory chat. See if I'm right for you. Yeah.
Beautiful.
can
Thank you
offer.
so much for blessing our show today.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I'll be putting that on repeat and I'll be bathing
Yeah.
for the rest of the night. Okay.
Okay. Bless you. Thank you both so much for having me in your show. So I met, as I say, I met Kirsty recently, but it's lovely to meet you, Kate, as well. I'm so happy that I'll be meeting you both in person on Saturday.
Yes.
The Heart Gathering.
Art gathering in Glastonbury. Yeah, with Adrian Lee. Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. And as I said, we'll put all those beautiful contacts in the show notes. And thank you, everyone. If you've enjoyed this episode, which I'm sure you have, please don't be shy and please do subscribe or like and share, because it's just helping us to spread more love, more light into the world that our beautiful guests bring in. So thank you so much, and we're sending you so much love. Thanks, Siobhan.
Lots of love.
Thank you.